Hi, I'm Carl, and I'm a small church pastor, and I'm here today with Dan Epperson. And Dan, you're from what town, and what's your church name?
I'm from Ione, California, and the church is Kingsview Assembly of God.
Okay. How big is Ione?
It's 7,000 people, but there's about 3,500 of those are in the prison or gated community.
Oh,
and,
really?
And there's the rest are outside walking around with us. So.
Okay. Now, is Ione like a standalone community, or is it part of a suburban sprawl, or what?
It's a standalone community. It's it's a small town in Amador County. It's one of the smallest counties in the state,
Okay.
and we're the largest city in the county at this time.
Okay. Now, the official name of your church is the official name.
Yes.
But the reason we're talking today is because you guys have an unofficial name. What is that, and how did you get it?
The locals know this is the church that cares for kids. When we first got there, I realized that it's an old mining town, and people have been there a long time, ranchers and those kinds of folks. And most of them really weren't interested in coming to church, so I just been praying and thinking about how to reach the people. We decided just to reach their kids, because I figured they'll raise up in our church and we'll stay there and grow them. And so we started some kids outreaches, started out with basketball and turned into a kids program where we feed the kids a hot dog on Wednesday nights and just do activities that are related to our area. We have a lot of Native Americans, so we'll do stuff that involves what they do for their lives, and just all kinds of things, just activities, gardening, you name it.
Now, I've heard you do something with backpacks.
Oh yeah. We got some backpacks from what's their name? We hand out backpacks to schools.
Okay. Yeah, your daughter was showing me; she was very proud of hers. Yesterday, and I guess she got some things in it or whatever.
Kim and Laurel with.
Rural Compassion.
Rural Compassion, they gave us some backpacks and some other stuff to help outreach our community.
Now, what would you say to a small church pastor in a small town, a whole bunch of whom it can be very frustrating at times?
Sure, definitely.
There's not a lot of resources. A lot of the stuff we read and a lot of the church advice we get tends to be oriented to larger, to multi-staff, or to having a larger budget. And I think a lot of small church pastors, especially in small towns, can think, I couldn't take on that kind of an outreach. I couldn't reach out that much because I can barely manage what I'm doing now. If you could give another small church pastor in a small town a word of encouragement about reaching out to the community, what would that be?
I think that the first thing is to realize that the answer to your problems you already have, you just don't know what they are. And the thing that we've really lived and survived by there and grown by is that we've tried to find a need, whether it's really small, any need that we can fill, we do what we can to. A good example, one of our previous council members in town was driving by one day and he got his bike chain came off. He's having a hard time putting it on, so I immediately dropped what I was doing, ran out and fixed his bike chain. People need, if I find somebody that's got a need, I do everything I can to help them out, whether it's mowing a lawn, picking up stuff, I have a truck, so I do whatever I can. It makes my schedule a little bit rough sometimes, but
now all those things sound very unspiritual. Shouldn't you just be having prayer meetings and Bible studies?
Honestly, in a small town, if they don't trust you, they don't care.
Yeah.
And the only way you build trust is by serving people.
Yeah.
And I don't worry about what you're having to do. Just go out and do it. I mean, there's always a need. One of the other things we do for an outreach, which is completely unspiritual, is I teach a hunter education class. We live in a rural community, and everybody hunts. Most everybody hunts there or fishes. And so I figured out how to get certified. I got certified, and I teach about 300 students, adults, and kids in our community every year about hunting, and I hold it in the church.
Yeah.
So they come to the church. Well, many of them, first time they've ever been in a church.
Amazing.
And they don't know why the pastor's up there talking about killing stuff. But
don't do that in New York City. If you pastor in New York City, don't do this. That won't work for you.
But I mean, that's just knowing your community and knowing what they're into and providing that service.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like what you've done is you've taken the culture of your church, you've understood the culture of the town that you're in, and you've matched the skills and the culture of your church to the culture of the town and found a place where you're really meeting real needs, real felt needs, and then you have an inroad to give them an opportunity to meet the needs they may not even realize they have, the spiritual needs.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, I got an opportunity to pray with some of our city or county and city leaders last week, which was a kind of unexpected blessing, I guess.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you for just doing that and for doing this with us today and encouraging other small church pastors. So if you're in a small church in a small town, you can do outreach, you can minister to your community. Don't teach a hunter class if that doesn't fit your community, but find what does fit it and do what meets your community's needs. It doesn't matter how big your church is, it matters how big your heart is.